Today we embark on a journey of contemplation with 3 enlightening stories that unveil profound truths about life. These timeless tales, rooted in Taoism and Zen philosophy, invite us to ponder the interconnectedness of events, the oneness of existence, and the multifaceted nature of truth. There is a Taoist story of an old farmer who had worked his crops for many years. One day his horse ran away. Upon hearing the news, his neighbors came to visit. "Such bad luck," they said sympathetically. "Maybe," the farmer replied. The next morning the horse returned, bringing with it 3 other wild horses. "How wonderful!" the neighbors exclaimed. "Maybe," replied the old man. The following day, his son tried to ride one of the untamed horses, was thrown, and broke his leg. The neighbors again came to offer their sympathy on his misfortune. "Maybe," answered the farmer. The day after, military officials came to the village to draft young men into the army. Seeing that the son's leg was broken, they passed him by. The neighbors congratulated the farmer on how well things had turned out. "Maybe," said the farmer. The Taoist story of the old farmer teaches us that we should not judge events in isolation, but rather see them as part of a larger pattern. We cannot know for sure whether something is good or bad until we see how it unfolds over time. In the story, the old farmer's horse runs away, which his neighbors see as bad luck. However, the horse returns the next day, bringing with it 3 other wild horses. This could be seen as good luck. But then the farmer's son is thrown from one of the horses and breaks his leg. This seems like a terrible misfortune, but then the military officials come to draft young men into the army, and they pass over the farmer's son because of his broken leg. The point of the story is that we should not label events as good or bad, because we cannot know how they will ultimately affect us. Instead, we should accept what happens and try to learn from it. Here are some specific lessons we can learn from the story. Be patient. We may not see the immediate benefits of something, but they may come later. Be open-minded. Things are not always as they seem. Be grateful for what we have. Even in the midst of misfortune, there is always something to be thankful for. The Ox and the Cart. A young Zen student approached his master and asked, "Master, I am confused. I see the world as a place of duality, where there is good and evil, light and darkness, me and you. How can I ever achieve oneness with all things?" The master smiled and said, "Come with me to the field." They walked to a field where a farmer was plowing his land with an ox. The ox was pulling a cart, and the farmer was guiding the ox with a rope. The master said, "Look at the ox and the cart. Are they 2 separate things?" The student thought for a moment and then said, "No, master, they are one thing." "That is correct," the master said. "The ox and the cart are one thing because they are working together to achieve a common goal. The ox is providing the power and the cart is providing the direction. Without one, the other would be useless. In the same way, you and the world are one thing. You are not separate from the world. You are part of the world, and the world is part of you. Just as the ox and the cart are working together to achieve a common goal, you and the world are working together to achieve a common goal. That common goal is to experience life and to learn and grow. When you can see that you and the world are one thing, then you will no longer be confused by duality. You will see that good and evil, light and darkness, me and you are all just different aspects of the same thing. And when you can see that everything is interconnected, then you will be able to achieve oneness with all things. The story of the ox and the cart teaches us that we are not separate from the world around us. We are all connected, and each of us plays a role in the larger whole. Just as the ox and the cart work together to achieve a common goal, so too do we work together with the world to achieve our goals. When we can see ourselves as part of the world rather than separate from it, we can begin to understand our true nature. We are not just individuals. We are part of something much larger. And when we can see that everything is interconnected, we can begin to live in harmony with the world around us. You are also correct. Two monks who came out of a lecture by their master went on a hot debate regarding what they heard during the lecture. Each of them incited that his understanding was the correct one. To settle the dispute, they went to see the master for a judgment. After hearing the argument put forth by the first monk, the master said, "You are correct." The monk was overjoyed. Casting a winner's glance at his friend, he left the room. The second monk was upset and started to pour out what he thought to the master. After he finished, the master looked at him and said, "You are correct, too." Hearing this, the second monk brightened up and went away. A third monk, who was also in the room, was greatly puzzled by what he saw. He said to the master, "I am confused, master. Their positions regarding the issue are completely opposite. They can't be both right. How could you say that they are both correct?" The master smiled as he looked into the eyes of this third monk. "You are also correct." The story of the two monks and their master teaches us a valuable lesson about the nature of truth and the importance of understanding different perspectives. The master's response to each monk's argument highlights the fact that there can be multiple valid interpretations of a given situation. Each monk's understanding was based on their own individual experiences and perspectives, and both were worthy of consideration. The third monk's confusion stems from the belief that there can only be one correct answer. However, the master's response challenges this notion and suggests that there can be multiple truths, depending on the context and perspective. The story encourages us to be open-minded and consider different viewpoints, even if they contradict our own beliefs. It also reminds us that there may be more than one way to understand a given situation. Here are some specific takeaways from the story. There is no single, absolute truth. Truth is subjective and depends on individual perspectives and experiences. Different perspectives can enrich our understanding of the world. By considering different viewpoints, we can gain a more comprehensive understanding of a situation. We should be open-minded and willing to listen to different opinions. Even if we disagree with someone, we can still learn from their perspective. It is important to be humble and recognize that we may not always have the right answer. We should always be willing to learn and grow. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the wisdom of Zen stories. We hope you found these tales both inspiring and thought-provoking. If you enjoyed these stories, please consider subscribing to our channel and sharing them with your friends and family. We are always adding new content, so be sure to check back often for more insightful and enriching Zen stories. Together, let us cultivate a world where the wisdom of Zen pervades our thoughts and actions, leading us towards a brighter and more harmonious future.